Hello everyone, I am Meltem teacher and today we are going to be studying about countable and uncountable nouns for third graders. First, let's remember countable nouns are the nouns which we can count and uncountable nouns are the nouns which we cannot count, okay? There are both singular and plural forms of countable nouns, but there is only singular form of uncountable nouns. There is no plural form of uncountable nouns. Okay, here we go. Now we will do some practice about countable and uncountable nouns. First one, we have tomato, and is it countable or uncountable? Of course, tomato is countable. And let's write an example about it. Since it's countable, we can use both singular and plural form of tomato. But let's say there is a tomato. Okay, next one, we have potato. Is it countable or uncountable? It is countable. So here, let's say there are 2 tomatoes. You can see that I can count it. I can tell a number for this one. Next one, we have cucumber. Is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is countable. And we can say there are some cucumbers. Next one, we have carrot. And is it countable or uncountable? Of course, carrot is countable. And we can say there is a carrot. Since I can count them, I can say 2 carrots, 3 carrots, okay? I can count the countable nouns. Please remember this one. And remember, and there are both singular and plural forms of countable nouns. So I can use either singular or plural form of countable nouns. Next one, we have eggplant. Okay, is it countable or uncountable? It is countable. So for this one, let's use a singular form of it. There is an eggplant. Okay. Next one, what about red pepper? It is countable. So for this one, we can say there are some peppers. Okay. Now, what do we have next? We have zucchini. Okay. And is it countable or uncountable? It is countable. So for this one, we can say, let's use a singular form of it. There is a zucchini. Okay. Next one, we have cauliflower. Okay. And is it countable or uncountable? Actually, it can be both countable and uncountable. Okay. Now, let's use this one. There is some cauliflower. In this example, we use the uncountable form of this one. Okay. Next one, we have pea here. So, is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is countable. And for this one, let's say there are some peas. You can see that I can use both singular and plural forms of countable nouns. Next one, okay, we have onion here. So is it countable or uncountable? Of course, onion is countable. So let's use the singular form of it. Let's say there is an onion. Okay. Next one, mushroom. What about mushroom? Is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is countable. And for this one, we can say there are some mushrooms, okay? You can see that I use the plural form of mushroom since it is countable. Next, we have garlic, okay? What about this one? Is it countable or uncountable? Garlic is uncountable. We can't count it. So we can say there is some garlic. You can see that we can only use singular verb with uncountable nouns. Then we have broccoli, okay. What about this one? Is it countable or uncountable? It is uncountable. And we can say there is some broccoli for this one. Okay, next we will continue with this fruit, okay. First we have apple. Is it countable or uncountable? Apple is countable. We can use both singular and plural forms of apple. Let's say there is an apple. Here in this example we use a singular form of it. Next one, we have banana, okay. Is it countable or uncountable? It's countable. We can count it. Let's say there are some bananas. Next one, we have pineapple. Is it countable or uncountable? Pineapple is countable. Now with this example, let's use a singular form of it. We can say there is a pineapple. And next one, we have watermelon, okay, and watermelon is a countable noun. So here we can say there is a watermelon. All right. Next one, we have lemon, and it is countable. So we can say there are 2 lemons. Since it's a countable noun, we can count it, okay? And next one, we have orange. Is it countable or uncountable? Orange is countable. And let's say there is an orange in the example. Remember, we can use both singular and plural forms. And next one, we have kiwi. Okay, what about this one? It is countable. And let's use a singular form of it. There is a kiwi. Next one, cherry. Cherry is countable. And so for this one, we can say there are some cherries. Okay, next one, we have oil. Is it countable or uncountable? Oil is uncountable. So we can say there is some oil. Next one, we have honey. Is it countable or uncountable? Honey is uncountable. We can't count it, and there is no plural form of uncountable nouns, okay? So for this one, we can say there is some honey. Remember, we can use some with uncountable nouns too, okay? Next one, we have butter. Is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is uncountable. And we can say there is some butter. Remember, we can use some only in positive sentences. Next one, we have juice. And is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is uncountable. Okay? And we can say there is some juice. Next one, we have milk. What about milk? Is it countable or uncountable? It is uncountable. We can't count milk. So for this one, we can say there isn't any milk. Remember, we use any with both countables and uncountables, and we can use any only in questions and in negative sentences. And when we use any in negative ones, it has a negative meaning, okay? Next one, we have jam. Is it countable or uncountable? It is uncountable. And we can say there is some jam. And next one, we have Coke. What about Coke? Is it countable or uncountable? It's uncountable. We can say there is some Coke. Next one, water, and it is uncountable. We can say there is some water in the bottle. Next one, we have coffee. Is it countable or uncountable? And it is uncountable. We can say there is some coffee. Next one, we have tea. What about tea? Is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is uncountable. So for this one, we can say there is some tea. As you can see in the examples, we always use singular verb with uncountable nouns. And last one, we have hot chocolate. Is it countable or uncountable? And it is uncountable. We can't count it, okay? So for this example, we can say there is some hot chocolate. Okay, next one. Now we have sugar. Is it countable or uncountable? Of course, sugar is uncountable. And we can say there is some sugar. And we have flour. Okay, what about this one? Is it countable or uncountable? Of course, it is uncountable. And we can say, there is some flour. And next one, we have salt. Okay, and is it countable or uncountable? It is uncountable. We can say there is some salt. Remember, uncountable nouns are the nouns that we can't count them, and there is no plural form of them. Next one, we have soup. It is uncountable. And we can say there is some soup. What about bread? It is uncountable. Okay, so let's write it here. And we can say there is some bread. And next one, we have pasta, and of course it is uncountable. And we can say there is some pasta. Okay. Now, with these examples, we will choose the correct one for each blank. Okay. First one, it says apples, and it's a question sentence. So, which one can we use for this one? How many or how much? Remember, we use how many only with countable nouns, and we use how much with only uncountable nouns. And as you can see, apple, it's a countable noun, so we can say how many. How many apples are there? Next one, now we have some milk. We are going to choose is or are. Since milk is an uncountable noun, we can say is here, okay? There is some milk in the glass. Next one. Now, again, we will say some or any. Water is uncountable, and this is a positive sentence. So, for the positive sentence, we can say some, okay? There is some water in the bottle. Next one, this is a question sentence, and we have honey, and it is uncountable, so we can use how much with uncountable nouns. We can say how many here. And next one, we have some and any. So our sentence is negative. So remember, when the sentence is negative, we can use any. We can't use some in negative sentences. There aren't any oranges in the fridge. And here, in this part, we are going to choose the correct one, okay? So we have there is or there are. How we can decide about it? First, we need to look at the noun. We have oil here. As you know, oil is uncountable, and we can't use plural verbs with oil. So here we can say there is some oil. We can only use singular verb with uncountable nouns. Next one, there is or are. 5 eggs in the fridge. Eggs. Egg is a countable noun, and as you can see in the example, plural form is given in the example, so we can say there are 5 eggs. Now, we use bread. Bread is uncountable noun, so in this part we should say how much. Remember, we use how much only with uncountable nouns. And next one, we have a negative sentence. So since we can't use some in positive sentences, we can say any. There isn't any soup. And next one, it's a question sentence. We have some and any. Once again, we can't use some in questions. So here the correct one is any. Are there any onions? Next one, some or any. You can see that this is a positive sentence. So in positive sentences, we can use some. There are some cherries. Next one, is there or are there? Look at our noun, and it is pasta, and it is uncountable noun. So we have to use is there with this one. Is there any pasta? Next one, there isn't or aren't tomatoes. So this one, you can see that it is countable noun, so we can say aren't, since we use the plural form of tomato. So there aren't any tomatoes. Okay, thank you for listening to me. It is the end of our lesson. Okay, see you everybody. Goodbye.